I want to talk to you guys about something. Talking about my previous video, which was fixing Wikipedia problem, I got over 1.2K views and about 7 hours of watch time and 6 subscribers. And I'm very proud of this. But the problem is that I paid over 98% of views on this video by Google Ads or YouTube Ads. Nonetheless, talking in terms of success, I'm going to talk about Adani Enterprises stocks and Adani stocks. And just I want to see how successful they have been in destroying their company's profile and bringing the stock down. So today I'm going to perform EDA on Gautam Adani stocks, and I will be using Google's Colab because it's free. I don't have to pay for anything, and it gets me good computing power and RAM, which is enough to perform EDA. And I will be using a source code which I found online. And also, if you want to download the data set and the code, then please check the link in the description. And without further ado, let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is import numpy as np. This is for linear algebra, and import pandas as pd. This is for data processing and CSV things. So there are some steps which we are going to follow. So the first step would be we are going to start importing every library. These are few. I will be importing some of them more. We are going to use the pandas library to read the data set into a data frame. Then we're going to use the head and the info functions to get a quick overview of the data set, and then to describe the function to get some of the basic statistics of the numerical columns. After that, we are going to use visualizations such as histograms, box plot, and scatter plot to understand the distribution of data and detect any outliers. After that, we are going to use group by function to group the data by certain columns and analyze them separately. After that, we are going to use a correlation function. We are going to find out basic correlations between two different columns, and then pivot table to create a function, or sorry, the create pivot function table function to create pivot tables and cross tabulation of data. And finally, we are going to conclude what we learned and what else do we need to talk about further, do further. So I have already imported two libraries. I'm going to import some of more. Matplotlib dot pyplot as here. This is for visualization, and also Seaborn as SNS, because this one is just better. So I don't know how are you guys watching this for the first time. Are you new data scientists? So I'm going to talk a little more detail what these things do. So pandas is a Python library used for data manipulation and analysis. It provides data structure for efficiently storing and processing large data set, and also has a variety of function for data cleaning, preprocessing, and analysis. NumPy is another Python library that is used for numerical operation and array processing. It provides a variety of mathematical functions and operations that are used for scientific computing and data analysis. And then now talking about Matplotlib, this is also a Python library which is used specifically for data visualization. It provides functions for creating a variety of plots, including line plots, scatter plots, and bar chart. After that, we come to Seaborn. Seaborn is also a Python library which is used for statistical data visualization. It provides a high-level interface for creating visually appealing and informative statistical graphics. And all of these are important, essential libraries for data analysis, data manipulation, data visualization in Python. So now, after this, we are going to read the data set into a data frame. So we are going to use DA because we have a CSV file. Oh, sorry. And columns, just copy path and hit enter. So now we have read our data into the data frame, and we are going to use the head and info function to get a quick overview of data set. Quick overview of data set. The output displays a data frame with 7 columns, which is date, open, high, low, close, ADG close, and the volume. These columns represent the different features of the stock data, including the opening price, the highest price, the lowest price, the closing price, and the adjusted closing price and the trading volume for each day in the data set. The range index, which is this one, shows the range of the index value for the rows of the data frame, which is from 0 to 5122. The data column section shows the column names, the number of null values, the number of non values, and the data type for each column. The data type for most of the column is float 64, indicating that these column contains floating point values. The data column is the type object, indicating that it contains string values. The output also shows that there are some missing values in open, high, and close, which we can check that there is 500, 5,100, and 5,125, and there are missing values in non-null. Contact values are less than the rows, 500, 123. The memory usage of the data frame, the memory usage which is also displayed in the describe function, and that is 280 plus KBs. Now we are going to use the describe function to get some basic statistics of the numerical column. Basic statistics. Numerical. These are some of the basic. This in this we get the count, the mean, which will be useful in the for when we are going to make certain functions to better understand the data. So now let's start. We are going to visualize make a first chart using visualizations such as histograms, box plot, and scatter plots to understand the distribution of data and detect any outliers. So visualization with matplotlib and histogram of columns. PLT hist. So the plt.hist function creates a histogram of the value with the open column, and with the x-axis representing the value and the y-axis representing the frequency of those volumes. The function takes open as an argument as shown right here. The plt.x label function sets the label for the x-axis, which is open, while the plt.y label function sets the label for the y-axis to frequency. Sorry, y-axis and x-axis. X-axis is open and the y-axis is frequency. Finally, plt.show function displays the histogram. This executing this line will show us the histogram. So what is a histogram? A histogram is a type of plot that shows the distribution of a data set. In this case, the histogram shows the distribution of opening prices for Gautam Adani company stocks, and the x-axis represents the range of opening stocks, while the y-axis represents the frequency of those prices. The histogram can give us an idea of the shape of distribution, such as whether it is symmetrical or skewed, as well as the range and the frequency of values in the data set. After that, we are going to get a scatter plot of open and close columns. PLT.y level, this is close PLT.show. So this code snippet creates a scatter plot of open and close columns in for the Gautam Adani stock data frame using the matplotlib. Matplotlib library. The plt.scatter function creates a scatter plot of values open column on the x-axis and the value in the y-axis is close. The function takes open and close columns as an argument as denoted in the data. Let me open it. So it will take open and close as the data points. The plt.x label functions label for the axis for the label x-axis for open and the y-axis plt.y label for close. Finally, the plt function shows the prints makes the chart. So what is a scatter plot? A scatter plot is a type of plot that shows the relationship between two variables. In this case, the scatter plot shows the relationship between the opening and the closing prices of Gautam Adani company stocks. Each point in the plot represents the opening and the closing price for a single day. The scatter plot can give us an idea of correlation between two variables, such as whether it is positive or negative correlation, as well as the distribution of the values in the data set. So as you can see, there are some values which are not distributed properly. That's why you see dots around the corner. And apart from that, everything is linear. It goes straight. So now we are going to another visualization using Seaborn. This will be histogram using Seaborn. So this code snippet creates a histogram of open and column of the Gautam Adani stock, which is this one, the open column. And this is the stock from which we stored in the data frame. The SNS.histplot function creates a histogram of values in the open column, with x-axis representing the values and the y-axis representing the frequency of those volumes. The function takes Gautam Adani stock company stock data frame as an argument and specifies the open column using the x parameter. The output of the SNS.histplot function is an histogram plot using the default setting of the Seaborn library. The Seaborn library is built on top of the matplotlib library and provides additional functionality for statistical data visualization. The histplot function can create more informative histogram with additional parameters such as bins to control the number of bins in the histogram, KD to display a kernel density estimate, and cumulate to display the cumulative histogram. Now we are going to make a box plot. So the SNS box plot function creates a box plot of the value close column, which displays the distribution of data, including the median, the interquartile range, and the any outliers. The function takes the Gautam Adani company stock data frame as an argument and specifies the close column using the X parameter. The output of the SNS box plot function is a box plot using our default settings of the Seaborn library. The box plot is a type of plot that displays distribution of data using quartiles. The box in the box plot, which is this, represents the interquartile range IQR, which contains the middle 50% of the data. The line inside the box represent the median of the data, while the whiskers represent the range of the data. The whiskers are this tiny little lines. The lines inside, sorry, outliers are shown as individual points outside the whisker. The box plot can give us an idea of the range distribution of values in the data set as well as any outliers that may present. Now let's just, all right. Now we are going to use the group by function to group the data by certain columns and analyze them separately. So the first thing, group data by year column. Correlation between open and close columns. Print B. So this code snippet calculates the correlation coefficient between open and close columns in the Gautam Adani company stock data frame using .corr method of the pandas library. The core method computes the pairwise correlation of columns in data frame and by default computes the person correlation coefficient. The core method takes two arguments, the first being the name of the first column and the second being the name of the second column. The output of the print function is the correlation between open and closed columns. The correlation coefficient is a measure of strength and direction of the linear relationship between two variables. The correlation coefficient can range from -1 to 1, where -1 indicates a perfectly negative correlation, 0 indicates no correlation, and 1 indicates a perfectly positive correlation. In this case, the output will give us an idea of how strongly the opening and closing prices are related in the Gautam Adani company stock. So now we are going to use the pivot underscore table function to create a pivot table and cross tabulation of data. open. Now let's perform some hardcore EDA using the Seaborn library. In your data set, SNS.pairplot DF. Come on. Yes, yes, yes. So this is the first of the EDA. We can see opening, closing, high, and these are the volumes and how much it is left. Now let's print heat map to create heat map for correlation matrix between columns. And let's just now downsample the data by taking only 10% of the data. It will use watchbox. It will increase the data size to be different categorical words such as while in plot, etc. So the first thing is we are going to downsize the data df sample df dot sample and the fraction is going to be 0.1. And now we are going to use the right plot type, which is going to be a box plot. Data df date ys4 open find is so box this would false estimate is and we got mean. Now we are going to increase the figure size because the printed figure is going to be very small, so we are going to increase the size. So the fig size is equal to 10x6. Reduce the number of categories and SNS or cat plot data is the sample access to date y is to open kind is equal to box false is equal to false. Estimator is equal to so let's just print the data, and that is it for today, guys. If you enjoyed it, please share, subscribe. Sorry, please click on subscribe button and like the video. And if you want to download the source code, just check the link in the description. I have also written a very long article on my Substack, which you can read for free. You don't have to pay for anything. And it details everything I have talked about in written format. So you don't have to watch the entire video. You can just read the entire thing and you will be good to go. So thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate you giving me time, and bye bye.